Hello guys, NautoAis here, and I want to give my thoughts on CM Punk versus AEW. Yes, I did mention before that I've been planning to give my thoughts on WWE versus AEW, the difference, the similarity, but of course after what happened to the latest Dynamite that happened on April the 10th, let's just say that it might be a little tricky because of what happened. So, for this particular thoughts, I want to give my thoughts on CM Punk on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour, especially when he gave his thoughts about his experience with AEW, how, let's just say, it wasn't good, to a point that there have been a lot of reaction, especially at AEW. And I hate to say it, that a lot of this kind of revolves around Tony Khan. I mean, like I said, I want to support AEW. I support the little guy. If we wanted for AEW, there wouldn't be wrestling in 2019, but that'll be a different story there. But lately, I don't know what's going on. I'm guessing that Tony Khan was very reactive when CM Punk was on the MMA Hour. I mean, not a good look, but I'm going to give my thoughts about it, my personal opinion. Well, anyway, first of all, for people still that don't know, CM Punk went to Ariel Helwani's podcast, and then he did talk about a lot of the story, his experience with AEW. If you want to know about it, it's already been on YouTube, it's on Google, everywhere. I'll link some videos and site about it. But the gist of it is, the bottom line is that CM Punk wasn't really happy there. I think it started when the Elite kind of showed a hint that they did not want him there, which is kind of dumb, but if you're running a business, that kind of makes sense. He's a draw, but I guess a different story with them, to a point that at all in 2023, it was the nail in the coffin, and CM Punk just said, I quit. I know people said he was fired. Whatever the reason is, the guy left the company in bad terms. It is what it is. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's what the story is. And it probably started, and a lot of people kind of felt that when Hangman Adam Page, basically what he did was he went for a business for himself, which basically what happened was, I guess, according to CM Punk, they had this script, they had this conversation, they had this promo plan, but then out of nowhere, Hangman Adam Page basically mentioned about Colt Cabana in a way, and when Punk was trying to talk, hey, why did you do that? Hangman Page said, oh, because I heard that you were going to intend to fire Colt Cabana. That's when it started with Colt Cabana. And of course, that wasn't true. But again, no one knows. And people still believe that, oh, Punk was the one that almost fired Colt Cabana. But again, that's a different story there. So, my thoughts on what he said about on the MMA Hour, it is unfortunate. I mean, the fact really is that it looks like that Punk and AEW weren't compatible. Yes, granted that Tony Khan gave him a second chance in wrestling, which is great. Again, you can't really deny that. But I was hoping that don't mess with this guy. Don't mess up. You have a golden goose. And in 2022, they messed up. Of course, you know what happened with the all-out brawl. Of course, there's an NDA. No one knows what's going to happen. They can't talk about it no matter what. That's from Tony Khan. So, yeah, it is unfortunate what it said. And what it sounded like that Punk's story is, he's trying to be reasonable, he was trying to be cool and collective, but it seemed that a lot of the wrestlers, and the key ones, beside the Bucks, of course, Jack Perry, seemed that doesn't want to respect him. And apparently his story about the glass thing with Jack Perry, and apparently according to him, that Jack was cussing out his superior or fellow employees. That's not a good look in business, that's bad, but again, that's sort of a red flag there when that's happening. And then, of course, everything went very south and all in Wembley Stadium. All right, so that's my thoughts about it. It's unfortunate. I know, like I said, Tony Khan gave him a second chance, but Tony Khan probably blew it also to some extent. Didn't really handle it right because Punk said that the problem is, he said, Tony Khan's not a boss. He's just a good person, a nice person. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Tony Khan probably have a big heart and has a passion for wrestling, but when it comes for being an authoritative figure, I guess that's a different story there, because there was a point that when Punk said, hey, you know, can you deal that with what Jack did? And Tony Khan said, well, what do you want me to do about it? Yeah, that's a red flag there. So it is unfortunate, but from what I gather, really, is that Punk and AEW just wasn't meant to be. The style just wasn't there. Yes, AEW was meant to be for the hardcore versus the WWE. And you might say, well, why did Punk just go back to WWE? Why did he try to go to AEW? Because at the time, they were in the top 2021. Basically, they were banging. They were like a banger to a point that WWE were reactive to it. Now it's the opposite, and I'll talk about it later. And in the long run, it just sounded like it wasn't working. The Young Bucks don't like Punk, and Adam Hangman Page sound like it. I don't know. Jack Perry, and I know there are some wrestlers that said, "Well, I'm not really a fan of Punk," or "I really don't like Punk," and there are some that do. I mean, business 101, you don't have to like someone, but you just have to be able to work with someone in order to make money, and that's what Punk was trying to do, but to no avail. So moving forward to the Dynamite April 10th, of course, before that, there was the previous episode, Edge or Adam Copeland basically did a kind of like a motivation speech. Probably not a good idea, bad timing, but again, probably Tony Khan told him to do it. And I know there was even a story like in Collision, off air, FDR kind of gave their opinion about it. I mean, it is what it is. And then moving from April 10th, the clip that they showed, yes, like I have to agree with a lot of people, and someone who's a supportive for AEW, it's a nothing burger. It's nothing. Yeah, I mean, the only thing probably that they can probably use as a defense from AEW is, yes, Punk did take the first physical encounter to Jack Perry. Again, business 101 again, you don't do that. However, people have said that, well, in the wrestling business, and that's what it's called, a locker room brawl. It's a common thing. Okay, I get it, but to some extent, like I said, Punk came to Jack rather than just ignoring it. I know he probably couldn't because he's being disrespected, and nobody wants that. But to some extent, again, it wasn't handled right, and probably Punk knew that he wasn't going to handle it right, but at that point on, he just didn't give a shit. It's like, hey, you know what? These people are a-hole. They suck. They're screwing with me. You know what? Whatever. And of course, Jack Perry trying to antagonize Punk, which is really not a good idea. But like I said, from what I saw, well, Jack Perry didn't attack first. It was basically CM Punk, whether you like it or not. That's what it looks like it. But it doesn't make CM Punk bad. But again, he was already pissed. He was already pissed at AEW. Nothing's being handled. Tony Khan's not handling it. Yeah, what do you expect was going to happen to a point that he said he quit? Some people said from AEW that he got fired. And of course, there was even the story with Bryan Danielson because he's part of the disciplinary committee. He did kind of said that when he did talk to CM Punk, again, I could be wrong, it did sound like that Punk really just hated that AEW. He really wanted to leave to a point they said, okay, you know what, we're just going to let you leave. And it is what it is. I mean, this is what I remember a long time ago with Eric Bischoff. We did talk about with Jim Ross during the time in WCW. There was a point that they could tell that Jim Ross wasn't happy there. So they just said, you know what, just fire the guy, gave him a motivation to leave, to go to another competitor company. There you go. Same goes with Punk. After a while, he decided to go to WWE. You got to give credit to Nick Khan because he wanted to bring in him, even so there's a lot of controversy because he's a draw. Whether you like it or not, CM Punk is a draw. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Wasn't really necessary. It was kind of dumb for an angle. But again, what can you do? AEW is still young. Remember, they barely started in 2019. So, they're learning. It's a good alternative for WWE, but not like this. I don't know what Tony Khan was doing, what he's thinking, what his plan is. And it kind of sucks because another one is Will Ospreay making some comment to Triple H. You know it is because of what Triple H said in the Pat McAfee show. Again, like, a lot of the tip is you don't really address it. Just ignore it. Prove your product is good. Show them what AEW is all about. Don't jab on the other company. Don't be reactive. This is what happened. It looks bad. Right now, a lot of wrestling fans, especially the hardcore, they're like getting like cringy with AEW. I don't know what to say. It sucks in that situation. So, yeah, thoughts overall, it is a bad look. It is an unfortunate what they're doing. I don't know what Tony Khan is doing. This is really bad. Maybe he's frustrated because his hero, CM Punk, I mean, there have been story that he wanted Punk to be in AEW, and when he got him, he was so happy like a little kid. Yes, whether you like it or not, Tony Khan is a mark for CM Punk. I think he wanted to show respect. He wanted to give him the best experience in AEW, but you got others that doesn't, and you failed to control the situation or talk with the other employees. To a point that, yeah, he went to WWE. And look what's happening now. He's good in WWE, especially in WrestleMania 4. Look what's happening. Oh, man. So it is unfortunate. And hopefully in the long run, they can bounce back. They can rebound. But right now, I mean, they had it good in the beginning of 2024. I don't know why they're dropping the ball. And a lot of theory is it could be Tony Khan very active when Punk went to the MMA Hour. I mean, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. It sucks. But what can you do? And a lot of people kind of give tips to AEW and Tony Khan. One is hire Scott D'Amore. If you don't know, he used to run TNA. They fired him because of negotiations, something. It's kind of unfortunate, whatever. Hire Scott D'Amore to control AEW. Maybe he has something. He has some idea. And another one is I was on Twitter. Bully Ray from the Busted Open podcast, of course, Team 3D, the Dudley Boys. He even said, he even offered help to Tony Khan in AEW for free to help them go back. Because again, competition is good. Everybody knows that. But when your product right now is going south and you're very active to what Punk did, I don't know. It's not good. And again, maybe my theory is that Tony Khan was a big fan of Punk, that he respected him. And then when he saw what Punk is all about, yeah, I mean, it probably hurt his heart. I mean, of course, another one also, my life was in danger. From what I saw from the video, I think what most people did say that he just got in Tony Khan's face. He didn't physically assaulted him, but he was very aggressive to Tony Khan. Again, business 101, you don't want to do that to your boss because that signifies that's a threat. Because at some point, you keep pushing the situation to a negative. You never know, maybe someone like Punk, he might do something more stupid than before. Because he already said he wanted to quit. Tony Khan didn't want him to quit. He trying to say, let's make this work. We want to give you a second chance. That didn't work to a point that he got really frustrated and he got in his face. Yeah, he didn't physically touch him, but like I said, but people don't understand is he got in his face closely. Basically what it means is that, yeah, he might not hit him. Maybe there's no intention to hitting him, but it kind of give a hint that you push that person so much that even they're pissed off, they might go overboard. They might go extreme because they're pissed. Their emotion is very high and they're not thinking logically. Just my thoughts about it. So anyway, that's my thoughts about CM Punk versus AEW. It is unfortunate what it is. And right now, CM Punk is getting props. He's trending on social media. And AEW, well, right now they're in the bottom again. So hopefully they can turn it around. It'll probably be a long time because what they did here was unnecessary. I don't know what Tony Khan is doing. I know the problem is also is he does things, a lot of things. Of course, the football, he's also part of that. Wrestling, and I don't know what other business. And a lot of people said, if his workload is just getting too much, hire people. That's what they said. Hire Scott D'Amore. Maybe he can help. He got fired at TNA. Hire the guy. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But as of right now, it is getting embarrassing for AEW. As someone who supported AEW, yeah, I'm shaking my head. Anyway, with that, I'll see you guys later.